Yeah, what's going on?
Hey, have you ever heard of Unidragon.com?
Have I ever heard of Unidragon.com?
Yes, Unidragon.com.
Why, yes, I have heard of Unidragon.com. That's the puzzle dude.
The puzzle dude, that's correct. He has tons of puzzles, and of course, he is the best and original wooden puzzles.
You have owls.
Guess what is the #1 best-selling puzzle?
The owl.
Do you think you had anything to do with that?
No, everybody loves owls.
Well, right now, you can get 40% off in stock if you go to unidragon.com/products/enchanting owl. You need to make sure you get yours today. Now, they also have 2 to 6 days for shipping. You can domestically ship within the United States. They have a great customer support. If you ever have any questions regarding your puzzle, except for how to put it together, you can email them at care@unidragon.com. If you want to get 10% off, you can use our code DRAGONTECH. Again, that's Dragon, DRAGON, Tech, TECH, for a 10% off discounts. Now, if you want the original, go to unidragon.com. Beware of fakes. Only get your wooden puzzles at unidragon.com.
Get them all.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah, what's going on?
Have you ever heard of Learn Worlds?
No, I have not. Why don't you tell me about it?
Sure, let me tell you more about it. Do you want to create an income online by adding a new revenue stream to your business? It has never been easier. Consider taking your knowledge, skills, and expertise and converting it into a course that you can sell online.
Sounds cool.
It is really pretty cool.
Learn Worlds makes it easy to create, host, and sell beautiful online courses that have an impact. Learn World's intuitive platform and a wealth of resources to educate yourself. You're only a few steps away from building a thriving online business in the booming knowledge economy. Visit trylearnworlds.com/free to start your 30-day free trial right now. Again, that's trylearnworlds.com/free to start that 30-day trial.
Sounds cool.
Hey, Mike, have you heard of the Entrepreneur Swag Shop?
I have not heard about it.
You haven't? Well, let me tell you more. One of the biggest challenges business owners face is creating and maintaining a strong mindset, as fear, doubt, worry, and other negative thoughts tend to creep in. That's why I love the EntrepreneurSwagShop.com and what it's doing to address the common issue. Its mission is to empower entrepreneurs through clothing and accessories so they can stay inspired and focused on their goals.
That's cool.
It's not just who, but what you surround yourself with that makes an impact of how you think, the actions you take, and the results that you are going to get.
Dun, dun, dun.
At EntrepreneurSwagShop.com, again, that's EntrepreneurSwagShop.com, just how it sounds, you will find a variety of items to inspire you and help achieve your business goals. Whether you're young, old, male, female, or just beginning out on an experienced business or needing to refresh that older business, you'll find something in the shop that will help you on your journey.
Yeah, this is right up my alley.
Visit EntrepreneurSwagShop.com today and get 10% off your first order. Again, visit them online at EntrepreneurSwagShop.com. That's EntrepreneurSwagShop.com today to get that variety of information that makes you feel good to inspire you to continue on with your business goals.
Coming to you from the shores of the Pacific Northwest, keeping you up to date on technology while enjoying a little whiskey on the side, with leading-edge topics, along with special guests, to navigate technology in a segmented, stylized radio program. The information that will make you go, Pull up a seat, raise a glass with our hosts as we spend the next hour talking about technology for the common person. Welcome to TechTime Radio with Nathan Mumm.
Welcome to Tech Time with Nathan Mumm, the show that makes you go, Technology News of the Week, the show for the everyday common person with insightful segments on subjects weeks ahead of the mainstream media. I'm Nathan Mumm. We got Mike Rade here and David Brown in the studio. We're excited to be here. We are a 2-hour show. We're live 4 to 6 p.m. on Saturdays. You can catch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and of course your home radio station, 1150 KKNW. You can listen to it in Alexa now too. So if you go to your Alexa device and you say listen to KKNW 1150, boom, you're going to be listening to us live on the broadcast itself. Well, welcome. If you're listening to us not on Saturday 4 to 6 p.m., then you're catching a rebroadcast. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, not 4 to 6 p.m., and Sunday, you're going to be catching a rebroadcast. So go to techtimeradio.com. Again, that's techtimeradio.com to get all of your information updated so you can stay up to date with the latest information. We are a 2-hour tech show that talks about current technology in a simple format without geeking out. Okay, let's start the show.
Now on today's show.
All right, on today's show, we're going to explore IMDb's creator and talk a little bit about him. We're going to talk with, but we're going to listen to Elon Musk, who says Starlink, which is their internet service that he has released, is faster internet speeds for airlines than they currently get with GoGo Internet. Have you ever gone on a plane with the internet?
Yep.
It's slow, isn't it?
I don't use it.
You don't use it? It is so slow, and they tell you, please don't stream this, please don't do this. But if you have Starlink, which they have tons of satellites, we'll be talking about that, they're going to be transferring over to airlines so you can get faster network in a mesh network. So we'll talk about that. We're going to talk about deep fake voice technology pulling off a $35 million bank heist. Then why is the new James Bond movie, The Criminals Shiniest Phish bait out there right now? We're going to be talking about a brand new scheme for the James Bond film that comes on out and how they grab your credit card and how they do a bunch of other stuff on Protect Yourself Today.
No way to get paid.
That's right. Then we have our Mike's Mesmerizing Moment brought to us by StoriCoffee. It can be talking about a bunch of great information. And then we also have, of course, our pick of the day whiskey tasting. That's all on the first hour of the show. On our second hour, we have our Steals and Deals segment, which includes the best technology deals of the week. Then we're going to have Ask the Expert, one of our favorite guests, James Riddle, the Vice President of Research Strategic Consulting at Advarra. He's going to be talking about CRISPR, gene splicing, and the ability to bring Jurassic Park to real life. We're going to be talking about that. The woolly mammoths right now are being constructed in a lab in Dallas to be...
Yeah, that's not quite Jurassic Park. But...
Well, it's not quite, but what happens if you bring back woolly mammoths? Are you going to bring back other stuff? Well, we'll talk about the company that says that's what they want to do.
That's what they want to do.
Correct.
But we have woolly mammoth DNA, but we don't have dino DNA.
So you know what? We're just going to do like in Jurassic Park, and we'll just make some chicken DNA and somebody else, and then we'll make velociraptors that will go around.
Let's just make Veloci chickens.
That's right. There we go. Finally, we have an interesting Nathan Nugget to end the show, and we have This Week in Technology History to both of our shows. So welcome to 2 hours of Tech Time with your host, Nathan Mumm, and co-host, Mr. Mike Day. Now, if you need any information, go to techtimeradio.com. You can always watch our live streams, and you can always get a hold of us on the phone at 425-373-5527 or 1-888-298-KKNW, which is 1-888-298-5569. If you call us right now on the radio, we'll get you on the air, and David will read the question for us. So we're really excited about this. Mike, we're going to start our technology show this week brought to you by Elderberry Boost. Get your Elderberry Boost today at elderberryboost.com. This Week in Technology, October 16th, 1990, Colin Needham, an English movie fan, launched Rec Arts Movies Database, which has been later known as the Internet Movie Database, or IMDb. IMDb is an online database with information related to films, television, programs, home video, video games, and streaming content. It once included the ability to have chat forms that they removed because it was getting to be more of a political-based event than the movies themselves. He worked as an engineer for HP. By 1996, he quit his real job and decided to move full-time into IMDb's most valuable internet service. Acquired by Amazon in 1988, Needleman is still the general manager of IMDb today. All right, if IMDb has free TV available, so if you want to check out more about IMDb, just visit imdb.com. All right, let's get our episode started with our first segment right now.
What's happening in the world of technology? This is our top stories in the first 5 minutes.
All right, Elon Musk says Starlink will provide faster internet speeds on airlines. Let's talk about how this happens. Elon touted the SpaceX plan to use Starlink for in-flight Wi-Fi, saying in a tweet on Thursday that the service could add low latency, half gigabyte connection in air. So half a gig. So that would be 500 megs in flight as you're flying across the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So you could literally, 500 megs, I mean, at 12 megs, you can stream a Netflix movie. So at 500 megs, you're able to have everybody on there probably streaming Disney Plus, Netflix stuff.
Everybody's going to broadband the crap out of it, aren't they?
They are. Then what happens when you're in space and all of a sudden you have that person that starts downloading something on a torrent file and it takes up all the bandwidth?
Takes up all the bandwidth, yeah.
And then is he going to get kicked off, or does Starlink continue to pay? Well, I don't know. Starlink says that they're planning to work with thousands of companies to enable this service across the United States specifically. They have now, up to date, more than 1,740 satellites circling the world. Our Earth, well, I guess the world.
Yeah, that would be the world. That would qualify.
So Earth right now, and they are letting 14 countries participate in a public beta to provide this service. Now, you can get their service if you sign up at Starlink for $99 a month with unlimited access. All right, that's story number 1.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, story number 2. Some interesting stuff, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Did you know that China is the most restrictive on internet access and stuff?
I did not until we were talking about it right here before the show itself. We were talking about it.
Yeah, China has the most restrictive internet policies of any country in the world. And it's so bad that today's story is that LinkedIn, which is the only Western social media type of platform that is allowed in China, has decided to pull its platform out of there.
Oh, wow.
Because it's become too restrictive, and they've been getting pressure from other people because one of LinkedIn's one of the reasons LinkedIn was able to do that was they said they were going to conform to Chinese government's restrictions.
Okay.
And be transparent about how they do their job. But they've been having some difficulties because they've had to block some journalists' feeds.
Okay.
And
were the journalists negative towards China?
The China government has I think it's a 2 million man internet police force that all they do is watch what's going on the internet, and they use all kinds of internet tools to find out if you're saying anything against the country, saying anything the country doesn't want you to talk about, looking at stuff that you're not supposed to. So they have a
pretty big brother. It sounds like that's huge,
very huge big brother.
Okay,
it's hard to pinpoint whether LinkedIn's move was driven by the pressure from China to continually reform their policies, or from the U.S., which has basically disagreed with LinkedIn's policies around this whole debacle.
So what are Chinese people going to use? I mean, I thought that they were using LinkedIn kind of as their Facebook /
they have
social
been.
Media.
China has their own platforms for all of those things, which is how the Chinese government keeps information restricted
siloed
from the world. So they have their own. But apparently LinkedIn is going to launch a jobs-only site that is calling In Jobs later this year, but it won't have any of the social media features like a feed or chats or posts or articles or anything.
I wonder if they're
going
to do that for the United States in the next In Jobs, because LinkedIn is not where I go to if I'm looking for a job per se. I know that they have some job forums, but if I was looking for a job, I go to Indeed. I'd go to a bunch of different locations to find jobs.
I don't know. When in my job, I teach people to use LinkedIn as a job site, but it's secondary. It's secondary to local and more national things like Indeed. Indeed is the big one.
Yeah, they have a pretty nice interface too, right? I mean, their interface works really well. All right, that's great. Story number 2. I got story number 3 here. I should have that ready up to go. Story number 3. Thieves use deepfake voice technology to pull off a $35 million bank heist. Thieves use deepfake technology to clone a businessman's voice and order a $35 million transfer to foreign accounts, according to court documents obtained by Forbes. In the most successful deep voice heist so far, it may be a small part of a growing trend of people using old school thieving tactics to use new technology today. We're going to dive more into this old-fashioned crime in our Protect Yourself Today segment. So we'll go right on to story number 4. QR code backlash has begun. You know what the QR code is, right? That's that funky little code that you scan?
Yes, we're very familiar with that. We're trying to go out to eat.
Isn't it? After our show, we always go to eat, and then we would go to a restaurant, and we would have to scan the QR code, and then it was just their webpage.
Yeah.
Right? And so then we'd have to scroll and enlarge and scroll to the left and scroll to the right.
It was stupid.
It was really difficult. Well, QR codes were an early pandemic staple in restaurants, cafes, and bars, a necessity to help customers with the COVID-19 restrictions and lockdown. Yet as establishments have increased capacity in many cities, they are still using this unpopular process for diners. FSR magazine did a report that also talked about impacting the bottom line using these codes. Guests have growingly increased irritated to have to squint navigate food and beverage selections that for businesses that revert to paper menus over the QR codes have seen an increase in sales.
Yeah, there's a couple reasons for
along with a rise of guest satisfaction. So why would you say that would be? What's your opinion on that?
Well, I think that's an easy thing to peg your thing on because we like touching things.
Yeah.
So that's one. We get
sensory.
something. We get some sensory input from using a menu, and also we don't have to freaking navigate through the stupid website, which is not very friendly.
They weren't designed right.
They're not designed for easy access. And I think these web designers, they get a little bit too complicated and things like that. So you're trying to scroll and some stupid thing will pop up, and it'll interrupt your flow.
Yeah,
so,
it was really bad, right? Because then all of a sudden you get a special, right? So you're logging on, you're trying to look at a menu, and then all of a sudden, boom, this big banner comes on up, 25% off. Put your email address in here, and you're like, dude, I just want to see the menu. I'm in your restaurant right now. Just show it to me.
So obviously, there's two things going on here. One is that we're reverting back to what we used to do, which everybody wants.
Okay.
There's this need to go back to how we did pre-pandemic, and then there's the tangible piece and the difficulty of using our own media devices for this kind of junk.
So less than 3% of the restaurants used a well-designed program, but it did say that companies that used a well-designed QR code for a smart ordering system did see an increase in sales, and then people had the ability to order it and not have to have that one-on-one personal contact while they're sitting on down for refills and doing it. So so the message is, if you're going to be a restaurant and use a QR code, why don't you make sure you design that link to not go to your webpage, but a specifically designed menu that is optimized for a touch device.
Yes.
That's right. All right, Michael, that got us through the top stories in the first 5 minutes. If you want to learn more, you can visit us online at techtimeradio.com and click on our episode section or blog to get more details regarding each of these stories. Now it's time for us to get ready for our whiskey tasting at the break. But up next, we have Protect Yourself Today segment as we look at the old crimes using new tactics. Hi, I'm Nathan Mumm, host of Tech Time Radio with Nathan Mumm on KKNW. Tech Time Radio's live show is Saturday from 4 to 6 p.m., and you can always check us on the web at techtimeradio.com. Our segmented stylized radio gives you the breaking news before it hits mainstream media. Join myself and Mike Day as we'll make you laugh.
That's good. So, Hooked on Phonics worked for you, didn't it?
It did, just a little bit.
And learning something new in technology. Join us Saturdays, 4 to 6 p.m., and Thursdays from 6 to 7 a.m. The technology show for the everyday common person.
Hi, this is Lisa Downs, host of Reigniting You, the show that takes a positive, forward-looking approach to mid to late career transitions for Gen Xers and Boomers every Wednesday afternoon at 3 o'clock Pacific. Whether you're looking to stay in the traditional workforce, do your own thing, or retire or semi-retire, Reigniting You is your source for career transition advice, inspiration, and insight for what's next in your career and life. Join me Wednesdays at 3 o'clock to get re-energized, recharged, and reignited.
Welcome back to Tech Time with Nathan Mumm. We just had our first whiskey tasting. Mike, during the break, we got to sample our whiskey pick of the day, which is the Jack Daniel's Tennessee Apple. It is 70 proof, $17.99 for a bottle. It's
Not for that bottle.
Well, not for this bottle. No, this is a sampler bottle. So I got a small one so we could sample here. And I did not buy the big version because I didn't know if I was going to like this. This is a Jack Apple taste. So I don't know if that's supposed to be like Applejack, but they couldn't say Applejack. Jack Apple taste combines crisp green liqueur with the unique, unmistakable character of a Jack Daniel's taste. Fresh cut apples combined with a warm caramel and a toffee balance classic spice. What do you think?
I think it's pretty good.
You like it? Do you like apples?
Not particularly,
Yeah,
but
yeah. If
I
you
mean,
have
I
an
eat
apple,
them.
are you a red apple guy or a green apple guy?
depends on my mood.
Oh, or a yellow apple. I mean, those are, you get the yellow apples kind of thrown in there. I don't like that. They're too mushy, so I don't.
I
like
don't
that.
usually eat yellow apple.
So you like a red apple then?
Depending on, do you know how many different types of apples there are?
Well, see, the red is.
See,
just
I don't
too-
like Red Delicious,
Okay.
but I like Honeycrisp or
Okay.
some of the other
Red skin.
red, yeah, whatever.
So I
Those
love
apples.
So I love a green apple. It's got a little bit, normally it has a little bit of that tart
It's
taste.
tart.
Right? Yeah, I like that tart taste. And then it reminds me of the Sour Patch Kids that I like. All right, okay, well,
Okay then.
okay. Did you know with Sour Patch, their standard sour deal is apple tasting.
Yeah.
So because everybody likes it, I do like that tasting there. So
Okay.
okay.
Do you just buy Sour Patch Kids a lot? Is that
No, but I'm thinking of apple taste, so that brought me back to it. All right, here we go.
Okay.
All right, let's start our next segment right now.
Protect yourself today.
All right, protect yourself today, where we talk about all of the greatest crime-fighting processes used with today's technology.
the crime fighting?
Processes using for, that's right, thieves using technology to pull off a $35 million bank heist. Is this old crime tactic still in play? So thieves used an audio deepfake technology, which we talked about a little bit in
What's
our last
deep
segment.
fake?
So that is a computer. Is a deepfake face is the same kind of deal where essentially it takes your existing voice and it will go through synthesizers, and then it will create a pattern of how you talk up and down, your dialect, how you would pause between it, and it will create through technology and AI a process that will then repeat how you talk.
Right.
So I don't know. A deep fake for my talking would be horrible. They'd have to put in some mispronunciation of words here and there. And
No, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure they could use just Google Translate or
yeah, that's
something to deepfake your
there you
voice.
go. All right. So according to court documents obtained by Forbes, the most successful deep voice heist so far to date was that $35 million transfer. This is what they did. The AI created a cut and paste simulation video process, and they actually used the reference in video by inserting a cloned subject into the scene to create the technology of this individual. But if you stick and you listen to the video that was created with the voice, you can see the audio deepfake come into play as it trains the AI to repeat someone's voice. The AI then says in the person's voice the information that's needed. So have you ever seen Mission Impossible?
Mm-hmm.
So they have they have these things where they'll record a voice. They have that thing where they put your face on and
Yeah.
do it. This is the idea of taking that voice, listening to a sentence where, oh, I like you very much. And then all of a sudden they come up with a full, here is the passcode 576. That's essentially what you would see in television now actually happening, as there's a lot of things that are happening in TVs and movies that we're talking about on today's show.
Yeah.
Once a deepfake technology hits a certain level of realism, experts expect that the new era will continue to be providing a high boost. Let's talk about this. In 2020, a bank manager in the UAE received a phone call from the director of a large company. A big acquisition was in the works, according to the director, so he needed the bank to authorize $35 million in transfers to several U.S. accounts. The director pointed to emails from a lawyer to confirm the transfer, and since everything looked legit, the bank manager put it through. But the director of the company was actually a deep voice algorithm trained to sound like its victim. The UAE is now seeking U.S. assistance in retrieving the lost funds, which were smuggled to accounts around the globe by a party of 17 or more thieves. So they were all working together on this. This is not the first audio deepfake heist, but again, it's the most successful so far. Similar operations will occur in the future as we take a look at a much larger scale. Because deepfakes are constantly improving, it's eventually becoming too convincing for humans to properly identify. But trained AI, so here's what we got. An AI that can create and simulate your voice. But now to combat that, what we're going to do is we're going to train an AI to be able to spot deep fakes that are going on. So we're going to have an AI process that takes our voice and translates it. We're then now at the banks, we're going to have an AI that will then seek out to make sure.
This is how Terminator works in reality. There's going to be no need for human beings ever after all these AI exist.
That's correct, right? So it makes it much more difficult because it will pick up digital noise or small sounds that are impossible for humans to make.
Mm-hmm. They're doing that with auto dubbing too.
Are they doing it with auto dubbing?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Maybe.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. All right. Let's talk about the long con. So that's the ability of using AI to change your voice and then having AI on these banks and these other. So we're going to just have AIs looking after AIs, looking after AI. Have you ever got a phone call that is now? I got a policeman ball just a couple days ago. Please sponsor this. Mm-hmm. The guy's voice was so good. And I said, well, I don't really think I'm interested. And then he said, Nathan, I know that you're probably not interested. So somehow I was being sarcastic and I didn't.
I'm pretty sure it didn't detect your sarcasm.
It didn't detect my sarcasm, but somehow it knew that I said that I really wasn't interested. And then it responded by, Nathan, I know that you're not interested, but please listen for more. I was blown away by that. I was trying to, AI, welcome, I'm Robert Thiel, help the New York people, blah, 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 blah. And essentially it came to be in. So I was just totally amazed by that. Now let's talk about the long con. This is what people are doing. You know what a long con is?
Yes.
So
traditionally a long con would be where you are very subtly setting somebody up for a con to occur. So it takes time, patience, and wherewithal to pull this off.
Correct. So this is the same exact thing that's now happening in technology, where essentially the long con is coming up where you are having patients and espionage targets that are looking at whales. A whale is essentially a high-level, sea-level individual where they're targeting individuals, and they are cyber criminal gangs are spending up to a year finding out research about that, embracing new technologies, and actually doing a full research of what's going on regarding that individual. So let's talk about a CEO of a company. The gang may post for several months to get the CEOs or COOs information of who they can impersonate as additional actors. So essentially they're trying to do research regarding that. They go to Facebook, all the social media sites, find out who friends are of these big whales. Then what they do is they process and try to work with one of these sub-individuals that would be connected to the CEO and get them to be compromised through either an email phishing attempt or the ability to actually log into the machine so that they can then send an email from a lower individual that may be working with the CEO to engage them into another conversation. So a CEO of a company here might have some friends. Maybe they have a social group. They go out to a certain athletic club. They work out. They find these individuals within that area. They then target them for a compromise so that they can then get into their email accounts and send an additional email to that CEO or that higher up level. A whole type of new area of trying to specifically use ransomware attacks, data theft, and extortion for these high-level individuals by creating a full profile. Most of these profiles include anywhere between 100 to 200 individuals that they have looked for to manipulate the larger whale. So they go 100 to 200 people. They create profiles, including spreadsheets and information regarding acquaintances of this big whale, to create a database of information so that when they do trigger and try to manipulate this individual, they will have backing of information regarding social events, media events, and either past or present employees to trick them into giving their credentials out. A new world of organized criminals is challenging. The Florentine Banker Group has stolen millions from UK-based private equity firms by using this patented long-term disciplined method. The group would start with the attacks by manipulating an email, a tiny number of senior employees, until they can trick the top-level individuals.
Yep.
All right. That is very disconcerting that they are creating these long databases. And then what happens is these databases go online on the dark web, and you can purchase them and purchase information for additional sea-level whales with contact databases in place.
Yeah, so what do you do about that?
As a C-level individual,
Yeah.
you make sure that you do not respond. What you end up doing is you end up not responding to emails, clicking on links anymore, and you go back to an old tried and true method where you pick up the phone, you call the individual, and if you need to have something taken care of, you make sure that that individual is really asking for the information and have that conversation one-on-one. Because these C-level individuals normally are not the most tech-savvy individuals of a company.
Nope.
They normally come from a financial background or some business background that they went to school with, some Ivy League individual. They knew somebody from somebody and essentially kind of got into that senior level position. And without having the right tools, if you do click on one of those links that they send, that can cause your company millions of dollars in a compromised breach.
So what you're saying is you can do something about it, but the reality is that probably not a whole lot's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because human beings are lazy and they're going to find the quickest way to get stuff done. And using this stuff is quicker. Using email and stuff is quicker than calling somebody on the phone. These folks are actually pushing what could potentially push this so far that we have to revert to face-to-face interactions.
It is. I mean, that's literally. What happens is, of course, the C-level kind of says, "Well, IT, you just need to take care of this, right?" So they just expect the IT individual to have the ability to do this. But the IT individuals, and no matter how well you can protect yourself, if someone says, "Contact us to send you information that is a incorrect source," and you send it, then you have kind of made the company liable itself.
Yeah.
We're going to take a break.
I know,
need
I'm
some more
coughing.
whiskey?
I swallowed wrong.
You got some more whiskey? All right, well, we're going to take a break. When we return, we're going to continue this segment. We're going to look at a new movie con that's all about 007. I'm Nathan Mumm. We got TechTime Radio. I got David Brown behind the board, Mike Corday here to my left, and we'll see you after the break.
Did you know that up to 12 to 15% of Americans grind their teeth at night while they sleep? Yeah, it's called bruxism. I used to work at a sleep lab, and we used to measure that, and it leads to a lot of problems like headaches and destroys your teeth. It wears down the enamel, and it's just very hard on your mouth.
So every once in a while I'll wake up, my jaw will hurt. Do you think I'm grinding my teeth at night?
Yep.
Well, so how do you go about protecting this then?
The number one recommended way of protecting yourself from teeth grinding is what's called a night guard, which is a custom fitted prosthetic that you put inside your mouth. It usually runs, hundreds of dollars, but I know our sponsor, Smile Brilliant, can get you custom fitted night guards for as little as $45 a piece.
So if you go to smilebrilliant.com and use TechTime Radio at checkout, you can receive 20% off your complete order. So visit smilebrilliant.com and use the TechTime Radio at checkout code.
Welcome back to Tech Time with Nathan Mumm. Mike, how is your whiskey tasting?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. Did you get your cough all taken care of? You got everything swallowed down?
Yeah, it sounds like it.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't coughed in a minute.
You haven't coughed. You know what? I did a basketball tournament, and they made a rule where if you cough twice, they threw you out of the basketball tournament.
If I was really not enjoying that, there's a quick way to get out of that.
Well,
I'm going to do that at work.
You going to do that at work?
Yeah.
Two
go
coughs
walk
and you're
in.
done?
Oh, you got to go home.
You got to go home. Thank you very much. I'll work from home again today. All right. Well, welcome back to Tech Time with Nathan Mumm. We're excited to continue on our Protect Yourself today. When we left, we talked about the new blitz on the new James Bond movie. And this is now the number one fish bait attack in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens are cyber criminals are using the new James Bond movie, No Time to Die, as fish baits. Experts warn the malicious ads and phishing sites are claiming falsely to offer free access to the full movie. Now, here's what happened. No Time to Die released the first 10 minutes of the movie available for everybody to watch. They did this about 6 months ago, I think is what it was, to drive interest because it's been delayed now almost, I think, 2 years, is it? Or a year and a half? It's a long time.
It's COVID time. Nobody knows what it is.
COVID time doesn't exist, right? So it runs slower, COVID time, or we just forget it.
Yeah, I totally forgot what grade my son was in because I completely blocked out 2020.
So 2020 didn't exist. But essentially, the cyber criminals have taken the first 10 minutes of this. They offer the free access to the full movie. And since we're all getting used to watching movies and streaming for movies, it would not be unrealistic for us to expect that if James Bond email comes into my deal and I can watch it for $3.99 instead of paying the $19.99 release price, and I can get it ahead of everybody as a VIP pass, well, then I should probably sign it up to watch it from $3 to $7 because that's a great deal.
Yeah. Take advantage of your Walmart mentality.
That's right. When users visit the website in hopes of watching the long-awaited No Time to Die movie, they are asked to register their details after seeing the first few minutes of the latest film. During the registration, victims will be required to enter their credit card information so that they can charge them to watch the remaining part of the movie. However, after registration is complete, the user will not be able to continue watching.
No way.
Because it's not available anywhere online, so no one has it. Money is then debited from their cards, and the payment data ends up being in the fraudster's hands. They then have access to your credit card to purchase additional items as necessary, all under $9 items so that they are not tracked. So all of a sudden, you're going to get a credit card bill here if you do this, where you got a $3.99, a $7.99, a $9.99, everything under $10, because that's kind of the magic limit where they track it.
Right.
So anything underneath that is under social media. They're sending it, and what happens is these sites are available all across the United States. So it's not like it's only coming from Russia. It's like there's a site here in the U.S., there's a site in Canada, there's a site in Texas, there's a site in, I said the U.S., and then I put Texas too, because I don't know if Texas is in the U.S. anymore. But yeah, so all the different areas that are available. So,
Okay.
all right. What happens is after this process happens, your No Time to Die comes up with a critical error, and it says, please reboot your machine. Now, as they reboot their machine, the first thing that comes on up, it comes to an alert page that says that this information is available, and if you're having problems, you can call support, and they'll take care of any issues you're having. So support then, so this is a great deal, right? So you've paid your credit card. They're maxing the credit card itself. Then you call support because you say, hey, I had this James Bond movie that I just purchased, right? I want to watch the new thing. They will help log onto your computer to get your computer access to watch the movie. During this time, they're loading malware on the back end of your computer. Instead of helping you access it, they now have access to your computer itself. So big scammers, No Time to Die is not available to purchase on any PC offers you see coming into your inbox. You're not allowed to watch it because there is no stream information that's available out there for you to purchase. There you go. News alert. No Time to Die may be a great movie, but probably not a great movie to buy on the cheap. All right, that ends our segment. When we return, we have Mike's Mesmerizing Moment brought to us by StoriCoffee, and we'll have Pick of the Day. So we're going to see you right after this. I'm Nathan Mumm. Thank you for listening.
Hey, Mike,
What?
have you heard of elderberry?
Only in reference to a Monty Python movie.
Well, let me tell you, Elderberry Boost, again, that's elderberry-boost.com.
Elderberry Boost.
Yes, Mike, that's Elderberry Boost.
You can choose organic elderberry boost, that 8-ounce size that's available on sale right now at $11.99. But you're listening here right now on TechTime Radio, so you need to go to elderberry, that's elderberry-boost.com and get some today.
Elderberry Boost.
Elderberry is an all-natural organic immune system booster and antiviral. Elderberry is known to actively fight against viruses, including colds and the flu. It also works as a natural remedy for allergies, cancer, digestion, heart disease, high cholesterol, headache, toothache, weight loss, and reduced inflammation.
It's a natural and healthy diuretic and has many antiviral properties. While it is famous for fighting the flu, it is effective for any illness.
Elderberry Boost was created to provide a quality organic elderberry to their customers. After searching years ago for a perfect elderberry syrup, none could be found, so they essentially created their own homemade recipe.
If you would like to get 15% off your first order of Elderberry Boost, just put in the discount code TechTime at checkout.
Again, that's elderberry-boost.com.
Elderberry Boost.
Welcome to Tech Time Radio. I'm your host, Nathan Mumm. We got Mike Day here, Elderberry Boost. Now, you tried a little bit of Elderberry Boost, didn't you?
Yeah, I got these little, what are they, chews? Little gummies?
Yeah.
They're very tasty.
Yeah, you put one in, and you weren't really sure at first, right? You were kind of like,
No, they tasted really good.
They're pretty good, aren't they?
Yeah.
They give you tons of...
And then I got tea, but I haven't tried that out yet. But apparently you have.
So you know what? Let me just tell you, we have the best coffee sponsor and the best tea sponsor here in the United States that I can find.
Okay.
So you're going to go home and try that tea. You're going to love that. And then you know what? It'll give you a energy boost and taste great at the same time.
Yeah? Are you going to replace your Monsters with those?
No. Monsters just there. No, my energy drinks still happen each and every day.
Is it Monster?
No, it's Rockstar. It's
okay.
Rockstar
Yeah,
Diet.
that's
Rockstar,
right.
that big white
That's
can.
right. That's right. Rockstar Diet. You gotta do your diet stuff.
That's right. Because it's only like 30 calories instead of 200 or whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, let's now move into Mike's Mesmerizing Moment, brought to us by StoriCoffee.
This is Mike's Mesmerizing Moment, presented by StoriCoffee. Visit StoriCoffee.com.
You know, I've said this many, many times. The concerning thing about all this technological advancements that we make is outpacing the ability for humans to keep up with it.
Okay. Yep.
Right? So we were talking about all these different scams, like they're using these audio files to deepfake an audio. So they're calling somebody and using a fake audio that sounds and acts like the person that they're scamming. They're using the person that to scam.
Yep.
Right? And the person on the other end of the line can't detect anything, which actually is not that difficult to do because we're not that subtle.
Or correct.
You know, we're not as quick to pick up on things as, like, say, a voice analyzer.
Sure. But so let's listen to that banker, right? So that banker had that little issue that he had listening to it, but he could have been on like a cheap voice over IP phone too, right? So there's some other criteria just with that banker with the deep fake that was there, where it could have been that he couldn't quite hear and it was maybe a little scratchy or not. So it could have sounded great because it wasn't crystal clear as it used to be when we had landlines, when you could actually hear the voices clear.
Right, but one of the biggest problems with this is that we're getting so used to doing all this stuff online that it's bypassing our critical thinking, critical factors.
Okay.
Right? I mentioned automatic movie dubbing. You know,
Yep.
there's these companies out there that are trying to do this where they take snippets of an actor's voice, run it through these types of programs, and then they're able to translate it into different languages using that actor's voice and cadence. Right? So that when because I don't know, you don't like martial arts movies.
No, so we talked about this right at our production meeting that
Right.
we had. So the Squid Games came out. So this is what this AI thing that you're kind of talking about.
Yeah.
And so I turned it on, and so it is I don't know if it's Japanese or Korean or where it is, but it's essentially
It's an Asian film.
Asian-based film. It looked pretty cool and interesting because it had like
It's one of the top next Netflix movies right now.
Yep. So I really wanted to watch it. I think it's a series. So I think there's like 4 or 5 episodes or whatever. I wanted to watch it. But what happened is I started watching it, and a minute into it, I could tell that it wasn't the native language, and they tried to have people talk as best as they could. But all of a sudden, this guy's in using an ATM, and his mouth is going back and forth, and it's like, hang on a second.
Yeah.
And it was like 15 different words, and it's like, hang on. And then I'm like, whoa. And this, what happens is then this other guy just goes off and he says, you can't do that. But he's talking for like 13
I know
seconds.
the best thing about old martial arts movies was that you would have these people that would come up and their mouth would be going, right?
Yeah.
And it would be like, you're dead. And that is the classic fun of these movies.
Okay,
right?
but that's a B-rated show. So if you're watching like one of those B-rated jiu-jitsu, karate movies,
but
I could see that, and I could see that being kind of fun. But
Right,
this
but-
is like supposed to be a #1 show.
Right, but what they're doing now is they're trying to do this with that deep dubbing voice, where they're taking the voice of the actor instead of hiring actors to do all the voiceovers, which is highly expensive. And again, we're trying to make everything much, much simpler, and we're trying to replace human interaction as much as we possibly can. And then we're creating these things. And then there's a company out there that's not only doing that, but they're actually instead of using the audio voices, they are digitally they're using voice actors to do the dubbing,
Yep.
and then they're digitally altering the film so that it looks like the people are voicing the correct language.
Correct. They're actually altering the mouth
Right.
they're zooming in on the mouth, changing the mouth to sound more like American words that would do that.
We'll probably have the same thing with the Henry Cavill mustache debacle.
Yep.
Which
was
so
for people that are listening, that may not what happened in
that was when they had to do some reshots of what was it, Justice League?
Yeah, Snyder Cut.
Justice League. He had grown a mustache for another film, so they had to like paint it out or something, and it was just really bad.
And it really did not look well.
It didn't look good at all. So the problem is that right now we can do this, and there's the uncanny valley thing that we can detect still.
Yep.
But this stuff is getting more and more sophisticated, and we're relying more and more on virtual interactions to these things, and the human and all these cons.
Yep.
Take advantage of simple human nature.
Yep.
We want to get it done. We want to get it done fast. We want to get it done efficiently, and we don't have the ability to keep all of our tracks or all our cars on the track at the same time. So we got all this input coming in from different, and so it takes advantage of distractibility and all this other stuff. One of the problems with this kind of stuff is that I don't know if you ever watch films with subtitles.
I do not.
Okay.
I struggled. I saw Dances with Wolves, and I had to read the dialogue. And I remember I walked out of that movie saying, "Man, I don't want to go to a movie where I have to read." So I'm
okay,
a lot of people do like it. Though.
Yeah, that makes sense coming for you. But there's a lot of people. I enjoy watching foreign films.
Okay.
Not all the time, but you get to hear the language. Like Mandarin Chinese or Japanese or any French, and you get to hear this language that you wouldn't hear if it's dubbed. So it's taking away some of this cultural diversity that we're doing. So there's other things involved, but the point that I'm trying to make is that we're trying to create this technology, and it's so quickly turned against us that we don't have time to figure stuff out. Like I said earlier, we might have to go back to face-to-face interactions. How would you feel if you had to go down to your bank every time to do a transaction because there's so many of these hackers out there dubiously taking advantage of all these technologies and using it to access your accounts and your information and so
I'd probably be annoyed, right? Because my time, I would now say I could just use it.
And it's the same thing with like dual authentication. Why do we have to do dual authentication?
To make sure that we are actually there to click approve to make
That's
sure.
That's right. Right. Sooner or later, somebody's going to come up with a way to get around that, and there's going to be triple.
Yep.
And quadruple. And then I'm going to have to memorize 50 different
passcodes
variations of a passcode. It's
well,
ridiculous.
No, because AI will take over by that time, right? So
yeah, I need an
Terminator.
AI. I need an AI that takes care of, and that's probably what's on the horizon too. Is that you have personal AIs that you can get programmed to take care of all this stuff for you,
like Jarvis in
like Jarvis.
Like Jarvis.
I want a Jarvis
in the Marvel universe. All right, well, let's now move on to our pick of the day.
And now our pick of the day for our whiskey tastings. Let's see what bubbles to the top.
All right, we have our Jack Daniel's Tennessee Apple 70 proof, $17.99. It is an American whiskey. It combines Jack Apple crisp green liqueurs. So that must be Applejack, but they must not say it. So Jack Apple.
Well,
is there
probably
an apple?
Can't be Applejack.
Well, is there actually an apple called Jack Apple?
I have no idea. I'm not an Apple fanatic.
Okay. Are you sure?
No, I know about Honeycrisp, and I know about there's another one I can't remember.
Okay, it combines green apple liqueur with the unique and unmistakable characteristics of Jack Daniel's. It's fresh cut apples combined with warm caramel and a toffee balanced classic spice. So I didn't finish all mine during the last commercial break.
Well, I didn't either.
So we'll have to continue that on to the second hour. What is your rating and why for the whiskey? What are you going to give it?
I'm giving it a thumbs up.
A thumbs up.
I like taste. We had this argument with the delicious yumminess of the peanut butter liquor we had.
Oh yeah, the screwball. Yeah.
It's very tasty, but maybe it doesn't really qualify for real whiskey.
A real whiskey connoisseur may not call this. Well, though I did have to buy it in the whiskey aisle, so I will say that.
Yeah, it's alcohol. Where are you going to buy it? You can
At
buy
Wines
it,
and More.
You're going to buy it in the pharmacy. I'm like, oh, can I have some?
Well, that's what you used to do back in the old days, isn't that? Wasn't the pharmacy peddler would come by and sell you alcohol?
Some laudanum and snake oil.
Yeah,
how about that?
And then everything would take care of yourself.
Yeah, you don't go. You don't go to the pharmacy to get liquor. You got to go to anything alcoholic, right?
That's correct. No, I go to the Wines and More place.
Yeah, okay.
That's like my favorite little store. You drop a couple $100 there, and you walk out with like 4 or 5 bottles of alcohol.
Or you could, drop $10 and walk out with $100 worth of crappy liquor.
Or Canadian Mist.
Yeah, Canadian crap.
Canadian Mist. All right. Well, I'm going to say for my Jack Daniel's Tennessee Apple, I'm actually going to give it a thumbs down.
And why are you giving it a thumbs down?
I just don't like the.
You just
apple
don't like
taste.
apples.
I don't. I think that may be it. I may not be an apple. I'm more a banana guy. You know what? I like
maybe they need to have Jack Daniel's banana.
Or you know what? Even I'm not a big pineapple fan. But
all they have to do is add some ketones to that, and that'll give you that banana taste.
Banana taste. There you go.
I don't know. Do they make banana whiskey now? Somebody's going to make it now.
You know what? If they don't, we should create the Mike and Mumm's
banana whiskey.
Banana whiskey. We should figure out how to do that. I will tell you this though. I've been spending a lot of time smoking a little bit of salmon. So if you need some smoked salmon, you're gonna have to taste.
Do you do that with?
No, I
do that with a bong?
No. With the.
You're gonna bring some, right?
Yeah, you know what? I'll bring some, David. So
okay, cool.
I'll have to bring some so that we have that taken care of, and I'm gonna be smoking some this weekend. So
okay.
So I don't catch the fish, so I have somebody else.
I'm not sure. That's.
Very not technology.
I don't know why that inserted into the conversation.
I don't know because we had a big thing.
Here I am I'm starting to smoke stuff. What are you trying to smoke? Oh, I'm smoking salmon.
Okay,
you use rolling papers for that? What?
So we had 38 pages of our show notes today, and we got done exactly on time. How's that?
I'm not really.
That's good. That means we got it all
cool.
taken care of. All right.
I don't care.
Okay, so I think do we have a minute left? Oh, whoa, we say stretch. All right. Well, let's talk about what the next hour is going to be.
Yeah, what's the next hour going to be?
On the second hour, we have our Steals and Deals segment. Mm-hmm. So we have some Apple products that are on sale this week.
Do they taste good?
No. No, that doesn't take like the Apple Tennessee whiskey.
Oh, damn.
We are going to have our segment Ask the Expert with our favorite guest and CRISPR extraordinaire, James Riddle, the vice president of Research Service and Strategic Consulting at Advarra. We're going to be talking about the possibilities of a real Jurassic Park and bringing animals back to life that have been extinct. And then we have a Nathan Nugget to end the show where we're going to be talking about cars and what happens to your old car when you want to get the engine replaced so that it can be eco-friendly. There is a company in London that actually strips out your old diesel producing / old engine and will take old Tesla engines and old Nissan Leaf engines, put them into your vehicle so they can
drive 3 miles.
So you can so you can drive down in an eco-friendly car.
Ooh.
Well, no. So if you're going to be in California in like 5 years from now, the only cars are going to be able to sell down there are eco-friendly cars. So if you have think of your 1956 Chrysler or your old Chevy that you have. And you take
a 1956 Chrysler and you put a battery operated stuff in there, you've just destroyed that Chrysler. Well, that's a classic car.
But what if it happens when you're in California specifically and you're not going to be able to be driving anything other than eco-friendly cars?
Don't go to California.
Well,
that's an easy thing.
That's an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be that easy. So we have a solution to take care of that. All right, we are still we're ahead in time. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna play our music. We'll start some of our commercials now, and then we can start some of our other commercials at the other time. Can you do that, David? David's shaking his head no. Okay.
No.
Well, let me.
You need to keep talking. What are you going to talk about?
I am going to talk about the next
old batteries in new cars.
No, hang on.
I'm going to put double A's in my.
All right,
in my Camaro.
So let's talk about the metaverse.
There's the music. Check that out.
There you go. Let's talk about the metaverse.
What's the metaverse?
Metaverse is all these universes that Marvel is talking about.
Why
is every TV show coming out there now trying to do these parallel Earths?
Because it sells. People buy this stuff, and then so everybody that's how everything works in Hollywood. Oh, look, they just did a whole. Do you remember the slew of stupid sci-fi movies that came out after Star Wars did?
I do remember.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there was a bunch of bad ones.
They were just crazy stupid.
Yeah.
And we all ate it up. We were like, oh, we need to watch that. And I remember one, I was like, what was that? Battle Beyond the Stars with John Boy. Remember?
Yeah.
That was the dumbest movie ever.
But now
but I watch it. I still watch it today.
You still watch it today?
I'm like, this is dumb, but it's so fun to watch. Flash Gordon. That's one of my favorites.
Okay. Did you ever watch Howard the Duck?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, not big on Howard.
The early Marvel stuff. Well, the metaverse is hitting everywhere because every studio now is producing it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to get ready for our second hour. We're excited to see you there. That's right. I'm Nathan Mumm. We got Mike Renee here. David behind the board. See you later.
Thanks for joining us on TechTime Radio. We hope that you had a chance to have that moment today in technology. The fun doesn't stop there. We recommend that you go to techtimeradio.com and join our fan list for the most important aspect of staying connected and winning some really great monthly prizes. We also have a few other ways to stay connected, including subscribing to our podcast on any podcast service, from Apple to Google and everything in between. We're also on YouTube, so check us out on youtube.com/techtimeradio, all one word. We hope you enjoyed the show as much as we did making it for you. From all of us at TechTime Radio, remember, Mumm's the word. Have a safe and fantastic week.
The views expressed on this program are those of the
Mike.
Yeah, what's going on?
Hey, have you ever heard of Unidragon.com?
Have I ever heard of Unidragon.com?
Yes, Unidragon.com.
Why, yes, I have heard of Unidragon.com. That's the puzzle dude.
The puzzle dude, that's correct. He has tons of puzzles. And of course, he is the best and original wooden puzzles.
You have owls.
Guess what is the #1 best-selling puzzle?
The owl.
Do you think you had anything to do with that?
No, everybody loves owls.
Well, right now, you can get 40% off in stock if you go to unidragon.com/products/enchanting owl. You need to make sure you get yours today. Now, they also have 2 to 6 days for shipping. You can domestically ship within the United States. They have a great customer support. If you ever have any questions regarding your puzzle, except for how to put it together, you can email them at care@unidragon.com. If you want to get 10% off, you can use our code DRAGONTECH. Again, that's Dragon, DRAGON, Tech, TECH, for a 10% off discounts. Now, if you want the original, go to unidragon.com. Beware of fakes. Only get your wooden puzzles at unidragon.com.
Get them all.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, are you bored of TV? Like drugs but can't afford them? Or still paying alimony?
Maybe.
All right, read How to See a Man About a Dog, collected writing. It's surreal. It's strange. It's How to See a Man About a Dog. Get your dose of surreal prose and poetry with the Stark Comedy Collection.
Ebook available on Kindle Unlimited. Print copies are available on Amazon, the Book Depository, and more.
That's right. I'm going to go get my ebook on Kindle Unlimited today.
How to See a Man About a Dog. It combines darkly comic short stories, powerful poems, and pulp fiction prose to create a heartbreaking and hilarious journey readers will not soon forget. Read How to See a Man About a Dog, collected writings, for free with Kindle Unlimited. Ebook available on Kindle, print copies available on Amazon, the Book Depository, and more.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah, what's going on?
Hey, have you heard of the How I Died, a fictional podcast?
No, I have not. Why don't you tell me about it?
Yeah, let me tell you about it. It's a fictional podcast with a full cast of voice actors and high-quality production value. It's essentially like listening to an old-time radio program that you would listen to back in the 50s or 60s, sitting around your radio in family time. It's all scripted. It's a series that follows John Spacer, a forensic pathologist who solves murders by speaking to the dead. No one knows about John's gift, and he has to hide it from his boss. The series takes place in the mysterious town of Springfield, the death capital of the U.S. The first episode follows John on his first day of his new job, unsure of how to handle the case of a mother's death during a kidnapping. 2 seasons are out now, with the first season uncovering the mystery of a potential serial killer. The show has passed over 1 million downloads since launch, with a vibrant community all trying to solve mysteries along with the show.
Sounds cool.
It is really pretty cool. You can find them online by going to audiohmmedia.com. Again, that's audiohmmedia.com, or you can take a look at them at any of your standard podcast services. It's How I Died, the podcast. Mike,
What?
have you heard of One Day University?
No, what is that?
Well, let me tell you about them. Remember that college where that one professor who was so popular students would line up to get a spot before they graduated? Well, now One Day University brings over 200 plus of the top-rated professors online to present incredible live stream talks based on their most popular courses.
Wow, that's kind of like TED Talks for college students.
Think of professors selected from schools across the country, including Yale, Stanford, Harvard, UCLA, Duke, Michigan, Columbia, and many more. Every week, One Day University offers a new 1-hour live stream talk followed by a live question and answer from the professor. Members also get access to a library of over 500 past recorded talks, all available on demand. You can learn something new every day about history, politics, arts, science, music, psychology, and much more. No homework or test, just the joy of learning new things from incredible professors.
Yeah, this is right up my alley.
I know, it is exciting. Memberships are just $8.95 a month or $89 a year, but you can try 2 weeks for free.
Dun dun dun. That's cool.
Plus, if you use code TechTime Radio and sign up for an annual plan, you'll get your first year for half price. That's right, 50% off deal. You gotta grab this now.
It's only $8.95 a month or $89 per year and includes unlimited access.
Do you want to try out 2 weeks for free? Learn more and start your 2-week free trial at onedayu.com/techtime. Learn more and start your 2-week free trial today. Just visit www.onedayu.com/techtime. Or you can use that promo code TechTime Radio for half off your annual membership plan. Hurry now. Don't let this great TechTime Radio deal pass you by. Hey, Mike, have you heard of the Entrepreneur Swag Shop?
I have not heard about it.
You haven't? Well, let me tell you more. One of the biggest challenges business owners face is creating and maintaining a strong mindset, as fear, doubt, worry, and other negative thoughts tend to creep in. That's why I love the EntrepreneurSwagShop.com and what it's doing to address the common issue. Its mission is to empower entrepreneurs through clothing and accessories so they can stay inspired and focused on their goals.
That's cool.
It's not just who, but what you surround yourself with that makes an impact of how you think, the actions you take, and the results that you are going to get.
Dun, dun, dun.
At EntrepreneurSwagShop.com, again, that's EntrepreneurSwagShop.com, just how it sounds, you will find a variety of items to inspire you and help achieve your business goals. Whether you're young, old, male, female, or just beginning out on an experienced business or needing to refresh that older business, you'll find something in the shop that will help you on your journey.
Yeah, this is right up my alley.
Visit EntrepreneurSwagShop.com today and get 10% off your first order. Again, visit them online at EntrepreneurSwagShop.com. That's EntrepreneurSwagShop.com today to get that variety of information that makes you feel good to inspire you to continue on with your business goals.
Coming to you from the shores of the Pacific Northwest, keeping you up to date on technology while enjoying a little whiskey on the side, with leading-edge topics along with special guests to navigate technology in a segmented, stylized radio program. The information that will make you go, Pull up a seat, raise a glass with our hosts as we spend the next hour talking about technology for the common person. Welcome to TechTime Radio with Nathan Mumm.
Welcome to TechTime Radio with Nathan Mumm, the show that makes you go, Technology news of the week. The show for the everyday common person, weeks ahead of the mainstream media. All right, I'm Nathan Mumm, and welcome to our show. We are live streaming on Twitch, so you can go to techtimeradio.com, and you can view us also on our main webpage. But you can find us at Twitch, so if you go Twitch TV /TechTime Radio, YouTube, you can check us out /TechTime Radio. You can find us out on Twitter, and you can always hashtag us during the show at techtimeradio.com. And of course, you're listening to us on our home station, KKNW 1150 AM. So you can go to their website, and they have a streaming site and a standard listening site, so you can choose both of those. All right, well, if you need any information and you're listening to us not Saturday from 4 to 6 p.m., again, you're going to want to check out the webpage at techtimeradio.com. This is a 2-hour show that talks about a current technology in a simple format without having to geek out. We are so excited about what we have on the show today. We're highlighting some top tech news that is weeks ahead of the mainstream media. So, David, right now, let's get ready to start the show.
Now on today's show.
On today's show, we have our Steals and Deals segment, which includes the best technology deals of the week. We then move our segment to Ask the Expert with one of our favorite guests and our CRISPR extraordinaire, James Riddle, the Vice President of Research Services and Strategic Consulting at Advarra, who will talk to us about the possibility of a real Jurassic Park. Just think of that. If there was the ability to have a Jurassic Park where you could go and see live animals coming back to life that have been extinct, would you actually yourself go and visit that? I'm going to start and ask Mr. Gourdet first on that. Would you go and visit an amusement park that was built like Jurassic Park?
No.
No, why wouldn't you?
Because I have a lot of references that's a bad idea.
That's a bad idea. I go next. I'm going to go to David. David, if there was a real life Jurassic Park with technology to bring back through RNA sequencing, and you had the ability to go on a trip and take a look and see this park, would you go yourself?
I'm going to have to agree with Mike. No, because I'd probably have nightmares about it, so I'll pass.
Oh, dude, I would be there. I'd be first in line.
You know, I want to.
Okay.
See, this is why this is a complicated thing.
Okay, why is it complicated?
I would love to see a real living dinosaur. As you know, I love dinosaurs.
You play like a video game called Ark, right?
Yes.
So that is all about dinosaurs, isn't it?
Well, yeah, that's a major piece is dinosaurs. And,
Okay.
And I've always loved dinosaurs since I was a kid.
Okay.
But we look at like the movie Jurassic Park, and while it's a fictional story, it does illustrate the problem. Ian Malcolm is this guy that everybody hates in the movie, but he's correct.
Yeah, the chaos theory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't know what will happen if we do this, but we are so bent on doing all these things that we're going to end up doing these things anyway, regardless of the effect on ecological areas or even social areas. Now the whole movie arc is that now dinosaurs are loose in the population.
Yep.
So what's the
Like
next
pterodactyls are flying above you, and yeah.
Because we don't know. This is stuff.
Well, there's a company right now that is in the
Of course
process
they are.
of bringing back a woolly mammoth.
Yes.
Now you realize woolly mammoths never really existed with humans, right?
No. Woolly mammoths did.
Oh, they did. They did.
Dinosaurs did not
Correct.
exist.
Okay,
with
so
humans.
woolly mammoths did exist.
Woolly mammoths did,
and they were hunted down, weren't they?
Yes.
extinctions?
Early man did, and Neanderthal did hunt woolly mammoth.
Okay.
And they went in. Then they did go extinct. So there is some argument that maybe we should bring those back because there was human interaction instead of us bringing a T-Rex back where there was no human interaction in that.
Okay, so we're going to be talking to James Riddle. He's going to get all the questions. I got tons of questions to ask about it because this company that we'll talk about in their segment that we have is all about bringing these back. And they have like $15 million in just seed one financing that has come into this company.
Yeah.
And this company has a list of people that are who's who. I started Googling a bunch
course.
of their names, and they are legitimately the main co-founder of this is an eccentric guy that has done.
It's a cool idea,
Yeah.
but cool ideas do not necessarily represent a responsible idea.
Well, we're going to be talking about that. Then, of course, finally, we have a Nathan Nugget that we're going to be talking about this hour regarding a couple things. We got a little Bitcoin information regarding the U.S. leading Bitcoin mining now since China has banned it.
China is all over the place.
Yeah, China's all in the news. They're taking care of everything. They're just locking down any creativity and technology as much as they can.
It threatens their way of governing, and it also keeps them from the rest of the world. Which this is not a good thing.
It's not.
China becoming more isolationist is not a good idea.
And then we have This Week in Technology History, and of course, we're excited to have our second hour. Now, if you want to find out more information, you can go visit us at www.techtimeradio.com to follow up on any of that. Or if you have a question for us, maybe you have a question for James regarding Jurassic Park, now is the time to call in the company that is going to be trying to create a Jurassic Park at 425-373-5527. If you have a technology question specifically regarding some Jurassic Park questions you may have, now's the time to get on the phones, or you can call 1-888-298-KKNW. Again, that's 1-888-298-KKNW, which is 1-888-298-5569, and be a part of the show. Now it's time to welcome Mike to the start of our show, This Week in Technology, brought to you by Elderberry Boost. Get your Elderberry Boost today at elderberryboost.com. All right.
Welcome to the TechTime Radio Steals and Deals. Pay close attention to the Steal of the Week.
All right, we're going to come back to the technology after that. So David's keeping us on time. He wants us to go right to Steals and Deals, which is fine. I appreciate that. So let's start our Steals and Deals right here.
Oh, we're not talking about NASA right
now.
Well,
we'll talk about the NASA Pioneer launch at the end of the show now.
Okay.
We'll put that in there at the end of the show. We were going to start out with This Week in Technology, but he says let's move on. So AirPods Pro, the AirPod Pros, Apple's best-sounding wireless earbuds, are back down to $179. That's $70 off the normal price and close to a record low. This includes the IPX4 design, improved audio, and a solid ANC. Buy your AirPods Max at Amazon for $449.
Nice.
All right, what do you have up on your list?
the 11-inch iPad Pro, Amazon has knocked off $100 off most of these models, bringing the 256 gig Wi-Fi version down to an all-time low of $800.
$800. Wow.
$800.
All right. So right now is the time to get some of these Black Friday deals. So these are Black Friday prices that we're talking about this week specifically that are available to you guys to get. I'm going to go next to the Razer Book. That's Amazon has a high-powered configuration for the Razer Book. Again, Amazon has a bunch of deals going on. For $1,200, that's $400 off its normal price. It runs on the 11th generation Core i7 processor with 16 gigs of RAM, a 256 gig solid-state drive, and the Intel Iris Xe graphic chip, and a 13.4-inch touchscreen display. Right now, you can buy your Razer Book at Amazon for $1,200. Make sure you Google in Razer Book Amazon to get that special deal.
This seems to be all about Amazon today.
A lot of deals there, yep.
Yeah, the Anova Precision Cooker, the Nano, is down to $95 on Amazon right now. That's the best price ever on the kitchen gadget that would make a great gift for the serious home cook in your life. This model uses 750 watts of power to heat up water, and it'll run for up to 3,000 hours before it needs to be recharged.
All right, that's a pretty good deal.
Sure, you cook.
If you cook, you can put it in a crock pot type of deal, a pressure cooker, and then you can just leave it all day and come back and your meal's ready to go, right?
Or could use a $30 crock pot.
All right, well, hang on. But you want to have a fancy one, then you have to do that. All right,
okay.
There we go. I have Tunnel Bear, another top VPN service, Tunnel Bear. It is probably it's a mid-level. It's not a top.
It's not a Viper.
It's not Viper, which is the best VPN services we've talked about previously on the show.
Mm-hmm.
This is a mid-tier, so it's a little bit underneath the NordVPN, but it is offering a 2-year subscription for $100. So if you want to go the lowest bang for your buck, Tunnel Bear is the lowest I'm going to go on anybody that I would say you should be using VPN service.
You get
they
what
do
you pay for.
Well, you do get what you pay for. How much did you pay your Viper? Was that about $200?
I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was. All right, so the 2-year subscription for $100, you save 58% off if you sign up for this deal. And Tunnel Bear is the easiest VPN to use. Well, not necessarily. It's okay to use it, but it's very simple. For a new person using a VPN service, this is great. You may not be able to click on the country in Australia to watch your unlocalized information on Netflix, but it is very easy to use. It's available, again, by going to tunnelbear.com for 2 years for $100.
Nice. So GOG.com, do you know who GOG.com is?
God?
G-O-G.
Oh, G-O-G. Good old games.
Goodoldgames.com.
Okay, I do know. GOG.com, okay.
Yes. They are having a sale, 67% on a bunch of games from Activision and Blizzard
Those are good
for the
companies.
next couple of days. The sales include things like Caesar, Pharaoh, and Cleopatra, Singularity, and others.
Okay, that's a great deal. And our steal of the week, our Apple TV 4K. The latest Apple TV 4K is down to $160 on Amazon, which is closest to the all-time low price. It's the best high-end streaming device you can get, and it has Dolby Vision, Atmos support, and an improved Siri remote. These deals will not last long, and the Apple TV 4K will not probably be available during the holidays as they are selling out fast. So go take a look at Amazon.com, put in Apple TV 4K, grab yours for $160 so you can actually have something underneath the tree for the holidays because they're having so many shipping delays with everything. It is crazy.
Everything is messed up.
All right. Well, if you wanted to get on the phones, hopefully you had a chance to call in. Again, that's 425-373-5527, or you can call 188-298-KKNW and get on the phone to ask questions. We're going to take a commercial break. When we come on back, we have a real-life Jurassic Park story with expert James Riddle, who will discuss the questions that many of us are asking after you watch Jurassic Park. The question is, should you bring back woolly mammoths or not? This segment is absolutely a don't miss segment. We'll see you right after this commercial break.
Upper Left Corner is a PNW true crime podcast now streaming on all major podcast platforms. If you get excited when your favorite true crime podcast tells a story about a place that you've been to or the town that you live in, then Upper Left Corner podcast is for you. Each week, I tell you a story of a crime that has taken place in the PNW and give you background about the town the crime occurred in. If you like true crime, check out Upper Left Corner podcast, now available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, and more.
Ace Hardware is a helpful place with prompt, friendly service, knowledge, and the little things that make a big difference.
Service.
Selection.
Advice.
Community involvement.
Competitive prices.
Convenience.
Located near you.
And the things you need, such as
house keys,
lawn and garden,
plumbing,
electrical,
hardware,
grills,
outdoor living supplies,
and even nuts and bolts.
When you visit Ace Hardware, you'll be greeted at the door and given the help you need.
So come visit us at Ace Hardware in Evergreen Way in Everett, Lake Stevens, and now Stanley.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Put your head between your knees.
Dr. Grant, my dear Dr. Sattler, welcome to Jurassic Park.
All right, welcome back to Tech Time with Nathan Mumm. We just heard a famous clip from the movie Jurassic Park. You remember that? They're in the field. The dinosaurs are up. They're looking at the CGI on the screen.
Yes.
And they're going, oh, my word. And he's out there with the cane. And Hammond says, welcome to Jurassic Park. Now we're going to get our next segment started. We're really excited to have our guest, James Riddle, joining our next segment. Let's start it now.
Welcome to the segment we call Ask the Experts, with our TechTime Radio technology expert, James Riddle.
Oh, that's a new voice. Who's that?
That's right. See, we got a bunch of the different stuff. But James, thank you for being a part of our show today. We're really excited about this. Hey, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. That theme music just brought back tons of memories from going to the movie theater watching all the dinosaurs.
Oh, I know. You know, it was that first movie is so good. You know, and the new reboot, the first movie was good.
They're all pretty good.
Well, the second one was kind of where they're using the
things
as
there was a lot of cheesy to that one, but
yeah,
that was still good.
Both number twos, they're all good though. They have a very interesting thing. So thank you for being a part. We are going to be talking about CRISPR, and this is an article I know that is very interesting as we were doing some research regarding the whole Jurassic Park type of idea. So CRISPR technology. Can you explain that again for those that are listening to the first time? I know we've talked about it a bunch on our Tech Time Radio, and you're our guy for that. Explain what CRISPR is in basic terms.
Okay, so in real basic terms, everybody, I think you learned in high school biology class, everybody has DNA in them. It's the building blocks that tell your cells what to do. And so inside your cells, there's DNA. Your cells read the DNA and figure out, okay, what am I supposed to do today? I'm supposed to grow brown hair, or I'm supposed to create blue eyeball cells, or it's the instruction code that tells living cells what to do. And so if you can use that DNA in different ways by changing the code, and that's what CRISPR does. CRISPR is a way to change genetic code. And so when a cell goes and reads the updated genetic code, rather than producing brown hair today, it goes, oh, I think I'm going to produce blonde hair today, or no hair, depending on your case. So that's CRISPR in a nutshell. It's super cool technology that we've just really started to learn how to use in the last decade or so. And the ability to take DNA, change it into something else, so that your cells do something that they weren't going to do otherwise, can be good or bad, depending on your perspective. And you can do all kinds of really excellent stuff with that technology, or you can maybe do some things that aren't quite as savory to many people. So that's CRISPR in a nutshell. Just think of DNA. I always liken it to one of those old-fashioned music boxes where the little thing goes twing, 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 and the little dots are rolling around. Because it tells as it's going around, it tells the music how to play. If you change one of the dots, the music's going to sound different. And so that's kind of CRISPR and DNA in a nutshell.
And so CRISPR's been really big here. It's been some saving aspects for, I believe, malaria that's been in the news, where they've been able to help take care of this. There's some, I know we talked about previously some genes where we're talking about where you can change blindness, specifically if someone was born and they may have been blind, if you edit some of the sequencing in DNA. Now, all the CRISPR technology, is it still being done in kind of lab format? It's not really ready to be produced yet, or has it released into everybody doing it also?
So CRISPR itself is a technology. The ability to edit DNA, we've known how to do that as a species for more than a decade. CRISPR is just a technology that enables us to more precisely edit the DNA. It's being used in a number of not quite all the way into human trials, but pretty close. There's a few that are just getting started where they're using CRISPR to edit human genes, but we've used CRISPR to edit animal genes, plant genes, and we've been doing gene editing for quite some time. You mentioned the ability to change humans. Like there's an article that just came out not too long ago that was studying how well the kiddos with the severe immune deficiency gene defect, they've got treated 10, 15 years ago. They're still around, happy, healthy kids, where if they hadn't have had their genes updated to be able to produce the immune cells inside their body, again, we told the genetic code, hey, produce immune cells to fight off infections. These kids are happy, healthy kids, and otherwise they probably wouldn't have lived this long. So really cool stuff you can do with gene editing, and it's everywhere. Right? Folks kind of get surprised a little bit about how far gene editing has gone. But if you've eaten corn lately in the United States, you've eaten a genetically modified organism.
That's right.
And
unless you go to whole paycheck, which is our Whole Foods up here, and you buy an ear of corn for $5 a pop. Yeah, you're getting some taken care of. So now let's talk about this company called Colossal. All right. Supposedly they're using some of this CRISPR technology, and they have a big group of idea to bring back a woolly mammoth or animals that have been extinct. How have the advancements in CRISPR allowed this company and the CEO and founder, and I got some quotes we'll talk about here, how is this advancement that we have now allowing a company to say that they can bring back animals that have been extinct?
Well, if you think about DNA being the instructions for what to do, my understanding of the technology that Colossal is going to use to bring back the woolly mammoth, and we can debate whether that's a good idea or not.
Well, we're going to do that too a little bit later on here. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, we can talk about whether it's a good idea to bring back woolly mammoths or not. But the technology that they're using really is not terribly dissimilar to what we're already using to genetically modify our farm animals to make them grow faster, our fish to make them grow bigger. What they're planning on doing, my understanding, is that they're going to take the historical DNA that they've been able to gather from woolly mammoths, because they're not that old, right? They lived around with humans. We have examples of DNA. Like we've been able to run the sequence of what a woolly mammoth's DNA looks like. So we know what the DNA music sounds like. So then you can take some similar kind of animal, because you look around creation, there's lots of different kinds of animals. You take something similar like an elephant or horse, what have you, and you take that elephant and you look at their genetic code and you start tinkering with it to make it sound different. So the elephant's DNA goes, or the cell goes, I think I'm going to grow long hair today. Or, I just read my DNA instructions, I'm going to grow bigger tusks. Or I'm going to put on more belly fat so that I don't freeze in the tundra, right? So we have the technology to be able to do this. The real key is, should we?
Okay, well, we got some questions on that coming up.
Yeah, should we? And it is a little bit harder to change something into something else. So if you know, in reading through their articles, they really are planning on starting with something that's close to a woolly mammoth, like an elephant, and genetically engineering that elephant, which is a little different than what the dudes in Jurassic Park did, right? If you remember back, Jurassic Park used cloning. Right. You saw in the movie set there, they had the little needle going into the mosquito belly and pulling out the cells. And then they cloned and put them in an ostrich egg, and that just cloned the animal. Now, we have the technology to do that too with living creatures, like Dolly the sheep has been cloned. There's been reports of people who've cloned humans over in China. So we have the technology to do that as well.
There's China again. China does everything. China does everything a little bit ahead of everybody else because they have their own regulations. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. So that's that's really it in a nutshell. So could they do it? Sure. That we've got the technology and the wherewithal. And in many cases, we're already engineering animals and other living organisms to do or have certain characteristics that we like. I like my little glowfish in the tank. They're a genetically modified neon fish, right?
Yep.
Genetically engineered to express a glowing gene. So when I put the black light on them, they're yellow and they're cool. Like, should we do that? I don't know, but we can.
We can.
Why monkey around with an elephant's DNA instead of using actual mammoth DNA?
Well, so CRISPR and gene editing works on an actual living thing, and there aren't any living mammoths anymore. So you have to start with something that's already around, like an elephant, which is why the cloning stuff from Jurassic Park, not quite there yet. Like, we can clone sheep because we have living sheep examples to take the DNA out of one and put it into the embryo of another. We actually don't have any living dinosaurs. So you could, theoretically, using mammoths' thought pattern here, you could do something like take one of those Gila monsters, like one of those big lizard things that live out on the island, right? And start genetically engineering them to have T-Rex arms or something. I mean, you could theoretically start doing that. I don't know if we should. That's probably,
I'm pretty sure somebody's out there monkeying with that idea right now.
All right, so here's a quote from the CEO and co-founder Lamb from Colossal. He says, "Never before has humanity been able to harness the power of this technology to rebuild ecosystems, heal our Earth, and preserve its future through the repopulation of extinct animals. In addition to bringing back extinct animals, specifically like the woolly mammoth, we will be able to leverage our technology to help preserve critical and endangered species that are on the verge of extinction and restore animals where mankind had a hand in their demise." Explain this thought to me. Yes. So do you think we should be doing this? Should we be preventing endangered species from disappearing and deciding to bring them back?
That's a tough question. It goes into a whole bunch of different worldview activities, which are probably a little beyond the scope of this particular show.
Sure.
But I think in reading up on this topic from what Mammoth is planning, or Colossal, excuse me, they are sincerely convinced that woolly mammoths have a positive impact on the frozen tundra, right? So since there is some evidence, apparently, that since woolly mammoths have left the tundra, there's been a degradation in the overall environment. So woolly mammoths do things like they stamp down, they dig in the ground to aerate the soil. They poop everywhere, right? So there's fertilizer. There's all kinds of things that animals impact their environment. And so if you are convinced that having this particular top tier animal in the environment is going to have a positive impact on the native tundra, well, maybe it is a good idea to introduce that animal back. Take an elephant, genetically engineer it to be more like a mammoth, make them enough of them that they can procreate and create more mammoth type things, and let them run around and poop in the fields and, restore the tundra.
And then we'll create a whole new group of poachers who will poach them for their tusks.
Yeah.
And their pelts, and we'll have all kinds of stuff going on in the black market.
All right. Well, hang on. That's good. James, we're going to need to take a break. When we come back, let's talk specifically about this woolly mammoth and the process to recreate this huge beast, right? Should we be doing a huge beast, or should we start something smaller? I keep on thinking about
miniatures.
Yeah, no. I'm just thinking, like, should we do some like extinct birds or some chickens, or maybe something a little bit smaller that we don't have this big, huge deal. Also very curious on how this is going to happen. So I was doing some research too. How do you start out? I mean, you know what? We're not going to talk about it now because we're going to take a commercial break, and we have all those great questions to ask you when we return.
Hello, my name is Arthur, and my life's work is connecting people with coffee. StoriCoffee is a small batch specialty coffee company that uses technology to connect people to each product resource, which allows farmers to unlock their economic freedom. Try our Medium Roast Founder Series coffee, which is an exotic bourbon variety that is smooth, fresh, and elegant at StoriCoffee.com. That's STORI coffee.com. Today you can get your first bag free when you subscribe at StoriCoffee.com with code TechTime. That's STORI coffee.com.
Hi, this is Lisa Downs, host of Reigniting You, a new show here on KKNW that explores a variety of topics and timely issues for making mid to late career transitions. I'll be here every Wednesday afternoon at 3 o'clock bringing you guest interviews, career transition advice, and great stories to guide you to what's next in your career and life. Gain a renewed sense of purpose for your next phase with a positive, forward-looking approach. Get ready to be re-energized, recharged, and reignited Wednesdays at 3 o'clock.
Give me that big glass of water. We're going to conduct an experiment. It should be still. The car's bouncing up and down, but that's okay. It's just an example. Now, put your hand flat like a hieroglyphic. Now, let's say a drop of water falls in your hand. Which way is the drop going to roll off? Of which finger, or over the thumb, or the other side?
Thumb. It's unpredictability.
All right. That's chaos theory.
All right, that's the chaos theory, right?
Yeah.
That's Malcolm there, right?
Dr. Ian Malcolm there.
Saying that
let's go faster.
You gotta be careful what you wish for, right? Isn't that what he was kind of the reasoning to the whole movie of?
Well, yeah, he was the guy the naysayer that we all dislike. We always dislike the naysayer.
Yeah.
But it turned out he was
kind of the hero, right? He was like,
he was correct.
Are you sure you know what you're doing here? All right. So before we went to break, we asked you the question specifically: should we be starting with woolly mammoths, or should we be starting with something smaller,
like chickens?
Yeah, well, or just a smaller race. So let me ask you that, James. Should we be going for the big Kahuna here, and let's just take the biggest animal we can, or what?
If you're colossal and you're an eccentric billionaire that wants to raise a lot of money from other eccentric billionaires, like I'm doing a mammoth.
You're doing a mammoth, okay?
Yeah, I'm doing the mammoth. It's super cool.
Human behavior.
It looks really cool when you put it behind you in your headshot. Everybody knows what they are.
That's true. I don't think it would get the same advertising value as, hey, let's do a dodo.
Nobody's really talking about bringing back the dodo, right?
Yeah,
or let's create a chicken. That's not as sexy.
It's not as sexy. So we're just gonna go for the big woolly mammoth.
We're just
the big teddy bear, right?
Go big or go home.
So all I can think about is in this DNA sequencing that they mess up. And have you seen Lord of the Rings, right? And they have those huge elephants with those huge tusks out there.
Elephants, yeah.
Yeah, that they're just attacking in the J.R.R. Tolkien Lord of the Rings. And they're like these total battle beasts, these deals that you can shoot them with hundreds and hundreds of arrows, and they don't fall down. They keep on trugging and trugging and trugging through the wilderness. That's what I can
armies.
see. Yep, that's what I can see here. But let's ask here.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the technology is concerned, it's not any more. It probably is not any more difficult for Colossal to do a mammoth than it is for them to do a horse or a dog or a chicken. They're all complex biological organisms, and it's going to take them, the same kinds of technology and the same kinds of gene editing over time in order to produce something that resembles a mammoth. Because remember, they aren't doing cloning like in Jurassic Park.
Correct.
They're taking something that we already have and genetically engineering it to be something else or act like something else.
So how do you get patient zero? So how are they planning to get patient zero?
Well, they just grab an elephant off the plains of Africa.
Is that the idea that you put this DNA sequencing in the womb of an elephant, or?
Yeah, so it isn't going to be quite like in the movies where they just go over and stick a needle in the elephant's butt and all of a sudden it just grows long hair, right?
Okay.
Like it's not going to be like that. It'll be more along the lines of they'll take some elephant DNA, they'll use CRISPR technology to edit that DNA, and then they'll reintroduce it probably back into a small baby, embryonic elephant, and let it grow and see what happens. And more likely than not, that elephant's going to grow with certain genetic traits, like the glowing fish in my tank.
It's gonna be more like Alien 3.
Yeah,
like Alien 3.
Yeah. Do you remember
where they open up the
no,
egg?
No, it was Alien 2. Resurrection.
Or Resurrection.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was when they had all the different versions of Ripley, and they were all just monstrous, crazy things.
I didn't watch that. No, I stopped at like 2. It was too scary for me. I wasn't allowed to watch. All right. Okay. So let me ask. So they're going to actually take the DNA that they have. Then it sounds like, and they're going to modify that with some elephant DNA.
That's my understanding of the tech that they're taking. Is that they're gonna start with something that we have, like an elephant, and they're going to start tinkering around with the genes so that the elephant's offspring exhibits certain genetic traits, like longer hair, bigger tusks, more belly fat. Maybe they make a weird sound. I don't know. I wasn't around when woolly mammoths were around, but they probably have some kind of cool trumpeting sound. And then, of course, if they get the traits they want, the next thing they have to be concerned with is, do those traits pass along or get inherited by the offspring of the thing that is creating the trait?
Yeah.
So does the next, when the really hairy, long tusked thing that they created mates with another elephant, do they get an elephant with, gray skin and no hair? Or do they get something that's kind of halfway in between? Can they create enough of them to create a stable population? And then the question becomes, will we actually let them loose out in the tundra?
Yeah, basic. Remember in biology class when you did your did you do the blue eye, brown eye dominant gene?
Yeah,
thing?
yeah. My favorite part, though, is dissecting the frog.
That has nothing to do with it. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Well, that's just to say, you're talking about like science class.
I'm talking about genetics. I'm not talking about dissecting frogs.
You take,
although they might have to dissect the elephant. I don't know.
So do you make 2 or 3 of these, and then hopefully one that's because with CRISPR, can you produce a male gene and a female gene during the embryo stage, James?
Theoretically, yeah. If you understand the genetic profile, you can use CRISPR or other gene editing technologies to produce certain traits like male, female, brown hair, green hair, glowing, things of that nature. You have to really understand the underlying genetic profile, which more than likely Colossal does because they have access to woolly mammoth DNA. They may not necessarily understand how that DNA reacts in a living organism because we don't have any actual living mammoths to compare it to. But they're smart people. I'm sure they'll figure it out. They could also theoretically take a crack at the cloning like they did in Jurassic Park, right? They just take the woolly mammoth DNA, insert it into an elephant embryo and see what happens.
Yeah. We could get super intelligent mammoths that take out humans and rule the world.
So then instead of AI taking over the world, we'll just have these mammoths take over the world?
Yeah.
All right, so let me ask you a little bit about this leadership group. I don't know if you had a chance to Google any of these people. I did a little bit of these. So they received $15 million in funding. There's an individual by the name of George Church. I couldn't find very much about him. He is the leader of Colossal. He's helming it. He's the co-founder. Then they have this Ben Lamb, who's a former CEO and founder of Hypergiant. It's got a huge list of people from Zynga Corporation, Accenture, co-producers, internet service providers. And then as I take a look at their advisory council, pretty big name. But then they have a bunch of individuals here on the scientific advisory board that are PhD Carolyn, Alto, Fritz, all these individuals. Does this look like a legitimate company with those individuals that they have on their roster of what they're trying to do with this? Or is it kind of a cash grab here and probably see what happens? It was a nice idea. What do you think?
A long con?
Yeah.
Well, it certainly isn't the same kind of thing like your 007 example in the first hour, right?
Sure.
So they're not trying that. But hopefully, these are smart folks. I don't know any of them personally, but they have good credentials and they seem to have a genuinely sincere idea that they can utilize gene editing technologies to modify animals to behave like things that are extinct now, so that we have a more balanced ecosystem. I mean, I have to imagine that tundra probably was generated with woolly mammoths in mind. And now there's no woolly mammoths, and that has to have an impact on the tundra.
You think Darwin is rolling in his grave right now?
Why would he be rolling?
Because this goes against the theory of Darwinism. You know, they were selected to go extinct, and now we're bringing them back because we can.
Well, let's ask about that. So, are we going to have a Jurassic Park here in the next 20 years? Let me just ask you that, James. Do you think that we will have a company, since they're moving quite quickly on this?
If they're able to do this, that we will have zoos and features and.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's my question. So, James, do you think we will have a Jurassic Park in the next 20 years?
In the next 20 years, I don't think so.
Okay.
While the movies, and we just talked about this in pretty simplistic terms, the movies really oversimplify the complexities of this technology. Living cells are an incredibly complex environment with lots and lots of moving parts that we still don't understand how they work. The likelihood that we would be able to take long crystallized cells from a mosquito rear end out of something and recreate an entire living organism in 20 years, probably pretty slim. Now, I could be wrong about that. Who knows? Maybe we've got Jurassic Park being built over in China. Don't know.
Well, they're going to stick all their AIs on it. And the AIs are going to create the dinosaurs that take out the human population so that the AIs can rule. There we go. That's how it's going to work.
But then they'll keep it segmented only with China.
Maybe the dinosaurs are still hanging out in one of those metaverses that people were so enthralled about that we were talking about in the first hour.
Yeah, that's right. The reptilians.
Yeah, you could just go over to one universe and then you can come on back into these mirror universes and bring
Well, we could just go all over the place with this.
So I think there is going to be a Jurassic Park. I think
20 years?
I do. I think someplace like a Switzerland or something like that neutral place will have some woolly mammoths. It'll be the extinct zoo where you go in and see extinct animals.
I think we'll see woolly mammoths in the next 20 years if they continue to do this. I don't think we're going to see dinosaurs.
I'm
I mean, as much as I would love to see a living dinosaur again, that's a really cool idea versus is it really responsible to do that? I don't know that's
dude. Money drives everything. So if you can have a
park, the problem. That's exactly the problem.
You have a park that's open.
Money deciding whether we're responsible enough to use this technology to do things that are
you don't get
beneficial to
$15 million in financing just to help save the world.
Yeah, well,
right. I mean, maybe I'm a pessimist
I don't
about
know.
that, but I think
would it be good to bring back the California condor? I don't know.
It would be interesting, though, wouldn't it? All right, James, I appreciate you so much for joining us. Always great to have you on. Well, there you go. Always great to have you on TechTime.
What do you got
Radio.
going on over there?
I was going to too much of that Jack Apple there. Nathan.
I was going to say a little bit too much during the break. All right.
Real quick, I Googled it. There is no such thing as a Jack Apple. It's Jack Daniel's Old Number 7 mixed with apple liqueur. So Jack Apple.
Is that where they came up with their own phrase? Okay, that's perfect. See, look at James. There's a full knowledge. I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Because I didn't know what it was either. I kept on reading
it. I credit the Oracle of Google.
Okay, there you go.
And you couldn't Google it yourself.
Well, I'm busy. I'm making sure I got stuff moving from place to place. I appreciate James.
I'm going to register that trademark now. Jack Apple.
Jack Apple. All right. I'll tell you this, James. I got to send you a Screwball, one of our whiskeys we had on the show a couple weeks ago. I need to package that up, send that to you and your beautiful bride there so you can have some of our Screwball
where's
whiskey.
my bottle, buddy?
You went and bought some at Costco. What are you talking about?
I didn't buy any at Costco.
You didn't buy any at Costco?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought you said you bought some.
I said I wouldn't buy it because I would drink it all in like an hour.
It was so good. All right. Thank you so much for joining the show. Have a great day, James.
Bye, James.
Take care,
all right,
guys.
when we come on back, we got the Nathan Nugget to end the show. I am Nathan Mumm. We got Mike Day here and David Brown behind the board. We'll see you after this commercial break.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, are you bored of TV? Like drugs but can't afford them? Or still paying alimony?
Maybe.
All right, read How to See a Man About a Dog, collected writing. It's surreal. It's strange. It's How to See a Man About a Dog. Get your dose of surreal prose and poetry with the Start Comedy Collection.
Ebook available on Kindle Unlimited. Print copies are available on Amazon, the Book Depository, and more.
That's right. I'm going to go get my ebook on Kindle Unlimited today.
Hey, babe, I hear that you can download a new voice on Siri.
No way.
Yes, it's true. It's a voice that goes, "Hey, you big hunk. what do you want to do and where do you want to go?
Stop it.
Oh, come on. Okay, I'm kidding.
What has tech ever done for our relationships?
We can't talk about that on the radio.
If you want to eavesdrop on juicy conversations that no one is having around all things love, sex, and relationships, join us right here, 1 p.m. on KKNW and wherever you get your podcast.
We look forward to seeing you in the Love Shack.
How to See a Man About a Dog. It combines darkly comic short stories, powerful poems, and pulp fiction prose to create a heartbreaking and hilarious journey readers will not soon forget. Read How to See a Man About a Dog, collected writings, for free with Kindle Unlimited. Ebook available on Kindle, print copies available on Amazon, the Bookpository, and more.
Welcome back to Tech Time Radio with Nathan Mumm. Let's start our final segment now.
This is your Nugget of the Week.
Really?
That's right.
You just wanted to get your own
my Nugget of the Week.
No.
That's right. This is Nathan Nugget of the Week.
Nathan's
Nugget of the Week. All right, so here we go. What to do with your old car? The classic car is being converted to electric vehicles. We talked a little bit of this in the first hour. Oswell is a black 1954 Morris Minor. It's a quiet car that has had its fossil fuel drinking heart replaced with a recycled electric motor. Previously, the 68-year-old gas guzzling engine would be making tons of noise as Matthew Quitter would be driving it all the way down the streets in London. He has created a new company called London Electric Cars back in 2017, and now he is replacing combustion engines with the classic cars with the new electric motors and batteries that would otherwise have been scrapped. You love this idea, don't you?
Well, I'm having trouble with this idea because if they've been scrapped, are they really that good?
Well, these parts typically come from crashed EVs such as Tesla and Nissan Leafs that have been written off by the insurance firms, but the motors and the batteries have not been damaged.
Okay.
The firm currently charges $30,000
$30,000
per conversion, so it's not cheap. But the company is saying that it's going to aim to drive the cost down to $8,000 in the next coming year to make it more affordable for people in the future. To learn more, you can visit techtimeradio.com and click on the stories links to find out more about this article. Yeah. Would you spend $8,000 to replace your...
No.
Okay.
If I have my dream car is a 1968 or 69 Camaro SS.
Okay.
Would I have that turned into an electric motor? No.
No.
Not, and it's not because I don't have any need to help the environment. It's because when you turn that motor on, you're going to hear. You're not going to hear that growling V8.
Yeah. You like that sound, don't you?
That's part of the experience.
I had a Monte Carlo growing up, and I loved. It was only a 305, but when you just go up to a street light and you just rev it with your brake on.
Yeah. Can you imagine? Unless maybe they can have some audio clips that go on
some
there.
AI to create an audio clip of really loud.
Because I'm not going to cruise up to my line in a 1968 Camaro SS electric EV car. Because you're never going to hear nothing.
I don't know if I'd pay $8,000 to replace my engine.
Nothing.
All right, okay, here we go. This Week in Technology. So we missed this first part that we had here. So This Week in Technology, David was keeping us on schedule. Thank you so much, David. You did a great job there.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right, October 11th, 1958, NASA launched Pioneer 1, the first spacecraft launched by the 11-day-old National Aeronautic and Space Administration, which is now known as NASA.
It's not NASA?
NASA. That's what I said earlier. I said NASA. All right. Originally intended to fly by the moon, the launch malfunctioned due to programming error, causing Pioneer 1 to only obtain a ballistic
trajectory,
which caused it to fall back to Earth after 43 hours of flight.
Right.
Now, it was launched weighing 84 pounds. The first lunar space program under NASA. It essentially was to land on the moon and to take samples. But what was really interesting here is that Pioneer would be the very first spacecraft to utilize the L-band technology for communication. They created L-band to specifically work on that. Do you know what L-band is?
What's L-band?
L-band is one of the chief operating ranges of various applications. It broadcasts at 1 to 2 gigahertz. And it essentially used to penetrate rain, fog, and storms and used by aircraft, global positioning systems, and boats out on deep seas.
Okay.
This is the only way that you can communicate across the world, even to today, with the L-band technology for maritime communications.
Okay.
So, failed mission.
L-band technology.
Created so they can communicate, and therefore that is technology
What about
news
Pioneer
of
2?
the week.
When did Pioneer 2 launch?
I didn't do any research on Pioneer 2.
Oh, dang it.
All I know is the Pioneer 1, it literally looked, if you go and Google Pioneer 1 right now, it looks like a missile that you would use in some video game to attack your opponents on the other side of your war battlefront. It just looked like a missile.
Well, it was.
That's right.
It was a converted missile.
It really was. All right. Well, I am Nathan Mumm. Thank you for joining us for Hour 2. Hopefully you enjoyed our Jurassic Park segment with James Riddle, as we did. It was fantastic. I'm Nathan Mumm. We got Micro Day here. David Brown behind the board. Have a great day. And remember, technology is your friend.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us on TechTime Radio. We hope that you had a chance to have that moment in technology today. We also have a few other ways to stay connected, including subscribing to our podcast on any podcast service from Apple to Google and everything in between. And also signing up on our YouTube page, where you get to see us live in video. Yep, you can see us chat and have some fun. It's youtube.com/TechTimeRadio, all one word. We hope you enjoyed the show as much as we did making it for you. From all of us at TechTime Radio, remember, Mumm's the word. Have a safe and fantastic week.
The views expressed on this program are those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of KKNW, its management,